Russia's air defense just got beaten by a balloon. A balloon, slower than a bird, silent as falling snow, and cheaper than the missile Moscow has to fire at it. For 2 years, Russia wrapped its rear areas in the most expensive aerial wall on Earth. Radar fields, interceptor batteries, electronic warfare nets, all built to stop Ukrainian drones before they reach its depots, refineries, and railways. In May, in a field in Ukraine, the answer to that wall rose into the pre-dawn dark. A helium envelope with a small attack drone hanging beneath it. The balloon climbed 8 kilometers. It drifted east toward Russian airspace and let the drone go. That single ride doubled the drone's strike range, with nothing but weather. Because over this part of the planet, the wind runs like a conveyor belt, one direction, west to east, out of Ukraine, into Russia. It never stops, and it never sends Kyiv a bill. But the balloon is not the dangerous part of this story. The dangerous part is the question it forces onto every Russian radar screen every night. A question with no good answer. And to understand why a slow, silent dot on a scope became Moscow's most expensive problem, you need to see what happened in that field before sunrise. Picture it. A flat stretch of farmland west of the front line, an hour before dawn. No engines, no runway. Just the hiss of helium filling an envelope that swells against the dark sky. Slung beneath the balloon hangs the weapon, the Hornet. 2 meters of wing, 5 kilograms of explosive in its belly. A one-way attack drone built by perennial autonomy for a single purpose: to fly deep, hit something expensive, and never come home. And one number turns this little machine into a strategic problem. The whole aircraft costs about $5,000, and it carries that 5-kilogram warhead up to 200 kilometers in a single one-way run. $5,000, the price of a used car. And Ukraine just found a way to make that used car fly twice as far. The balloon rises. 3 kilometers. 5. 8. Far above the comfortable engagement envelopes of Russia's short-range defenses. And the drone underneath is doing the most important thing it can do at this altitude. Nothing. Motor silent. Battery asleep. The wind does the work. For 42 kilometers, the conveyor belt carries the Hornet east. And then, 8 kilometers above the Earth, the release mechanism opens. The drone drops away, catches the air, and begins a patient glide toward Russia with 95% of its battery untouched. In May, Ukraine ran exactly this launch, and it worked. A drone that could reach 150 kilometers on its own can now reach 300. The most expensive phase of any flight, the climb, the transit, was paid for entirely by the atmosphere. Now cross the border into the room where this arrives. A Russian radar station in the operational rear. On the scope, a return crawling east at walking pace. Too slow for a missile, too high for a quadcopter. No engine heat, no flight plan. And the entire billion-dollar logic of Russian air defense collapses into one binary choice. Fire and burn a missile worth more than anything that dot could be, while the radar's own emissions paint its position for Ukrainian targeting teams. Or wait and gamble that this balloon is not the one carrying a warhead toward the fuel depot down the road. Moscow's own military already told the world what those scopes are seeing. After Ukrainian drones swarmed toward Moscow and Tatarstan in September 2025, a Russian source tried to wave it away and confirmed Ukraine's entire strategy in one sentence. There were indeed a lot of balloons, but they do not have any accuracy. Read that admission again. A lot of balloons. The balloons were never supposed to be accurate. They were supposed to be many. And to understand why many is all Ukraine needs, you have to understand the one piece of physics Moscow cannot veto. Between 30 and 60 degrees north, the planet's air circulation locks into the prevailing westerlies. Across this entire band, confirmed in NOAA's own flight doctrine, winds and jet streams flow west to east, season after season. It is one of the most reliable mechanical systems on Earth. Now look at the map. Ukraine sits inside that band. Russia sits directly to its east. The conveyor belt runs one way, out of Ukrainian fields, across the front line, into the Russian rear. Ukraine launches upwind. Russia lives downwind. Permanently. No decree from the Kremlin can rotate the Northern Hemisphere's circulation cells. Geography handed Ukraine a delivery system before the war began. Kyiv simply became the first to industrialize it. Here is what the free ride buys. A Hornet under its own power spends its battery on two things: climbing and crossing distance. The balloon eliminates both, which is how 150 kilometers of reach becomes 300. Ukraine did not build a better drone. It deleted the most expensive half of the mission and let the weather pay for it. And the revolution does not end with free-flying envelopes. Ukraine's second, quieter tool is the tethered aerostat. The Aerobavovna AB-12TC, now officially codified into service by Ukraine's Ministry of Defense, is a balloon on a leash. It deploys in 7 minutes, climbs to anywhere between 100 and 700 meters, and simply stays there, up to 72 hours straight, no fuel, no runway. Think of it as an antenna mast that floats. Its relay package extends Motorola and Harris digital communications out to 80 kilometers, letting Ukrainian operators fly strike missions deep into the Russian rear while sitting outside the reach of Russian detection. A ground antenna can be found and shelled. A balloon at 700 meters just gets winched down and moved. Free balloons riding the westerlies, tethered relays holding the sky open. Every object in that mix attacks the one resource Russian air defense cannot replenish: decision capacity. This is the framework. Call it atmospheric cost attrition. A cheap airborne object uses natural forces, wind, altitude, drift, radar ambiguity, to force an expensive defense network into constant detection, classification, and interception decisions. Medusa laid out the mechanical core. Every air defense system can track only a limited number of targets at once, and every radar that lights up to track one broadcasts its own position to Ukrainian strike planners. The balloon does not have to hit anything. Its existence is the attack. Now put a price tag on the machine being bled. The Pantsir, Russia's workhorse short-range air defense system, a truck-mounted fusion of radar, missiles, and autocannons that Moscow parks beside every refinery and depot it actually cares about. It is the system tasked with killing Ukraine's long-range drones. And one Pantsir costs $15 to $20 million. The drone under the balloon? $5,000. The system that has to answer it? $20 million. That is a 1 to 4,000 cost ratio before a single missile leaves the rails. And Ukraine's security service reports it has already destroyed half of Russia's key Pantsir fleet. Every balloon that forces a Pantsir radar to switch on is buying targeting data on a $20 million asset for the price of party helium. And it gets worse for Moscow, because this system does not need to be good, it needs to be cheap. Run the cold arithmetic. Launch 100 balloon and drone packages at a few $1,000s each. Let Russian defenses stop 90 of them. The 10 that get through hit fuel trains, ammunition depots, refinery columns, targets worth tens of millions each. The attack is profitable at a 90% failure rate. Russian air defense, to win, must be nearly perfect every night. Ukraine, to win, only has to be consistent. That asymmetry locks Russia into a cycle it cannot exit. A balloon appears, a radar activates, the radar's position is exposed, interceptor stock and operator attention drain away, and behind the clutter, the real drone wave finds the gap. Another depot burns. Moscow redeploys defenses to cover it, thinning the line somewhere else. Every response makes the next night's problem worse. The wall is not being breached. It is being billed to death. Now, honesty. The picture is not magic. A free balloon surrenders itself to the wind. Once released, it cannot be steered. Weather windows matter. A shifted wind can dump a payload into an empty field. Russian electronic warfare and GPS spoofing genuinely complicate navigation. All true. And none of it changes the math, because a weapon this cheap does not need perfection to be strategically painful. It only needs to keep showing up. And the balloon plugs directly into a strike campaign already grinding through Russia's rear. Reuters embedded with the first center of Ukraine's unmanned systems forces and documented what Kyiv calls middle strikes, a dedicated campaign hunting Russian air defenses and logistics 30 to 180 kilometers behind the front. The balloon is the range extension that pushes that entire kill zone deeper. Ukraine's own defense tech chief, Mikhailo Fedorov, has already written the epitaph for the old map. The enemy's rear is no longer a safe haven. But if you think this story is only about attack drones riding balloons, you have seen exactly one card from a much larger deck.
The Hornet launch is the headline, not the system. The system.
Russia is no longer defending against a weapon. It is defending against a category that can be anything. The same envelope that carries a strike drone can carry a reconnaissance camera loitering over Russian supply lines. It can carry a signal repeater, silently extending the control range of drones already deep inside Russia. It can carry a bomb, or nothing at all, a pure decoy, indistinguishable on radar, launched precisely to make Moscow burn a missile on empty air. Ukraine ran this evolution in sequence: decoy, reconnaissance, bomb carrier, drone launch platform, and by February 2026, the deep strike results were undeniable. Balloon-delivered drones have struck toward Moscow itself and hit oil fields, refineries, shipping terminals, and rail infrastructure deep in the Russian rear. Refineries, rail, the capital's own air defense zone. The cheapest aircraft in this war are now reaching the targets Russia defends most expensively, riding a current of air the whole way in. And this has been tried before, by Japan, in 1944. More than 9,000 Fugo balloon bombs rode high-altitude winds across the entire Pacific toward the American mainland, and Washington censored news coverage just to strangle the panic. The concept worked 80 years ago with paper and rope. Ukraine has welded that same free physics to AI guidance, autonomous drones, and real-time battlefield data. Japan threw balloons into the dark. Ukraine launches them into a targeting network. Kyiv now treats this mid-range fight as its own theatre of war. Business Insider reports Ukraine has carved out an entire new strike category, drones dedicated to the zone 20 to 300 kilometers behind the front, converting the once safe Russian rear, methodically, into a kill zone. Ukrainian commanders are not hiding the doctrine. Now, we're fighting for the middle strike zone. And to be clear, Russia is not standing still. Moscow is pushing back with GPS spoofing, jamming, and better balloon detection, and if it fields cheap interceptors at scale, the gap will narrow. But look at what adapting actually means here. Russia must now spend engineering, radar hours, and missiles classifying objects that cost Ukraine less than the fuel in a single Pantsir truck. A defense forced to answer everything affordable can no longer afford anything. And that is the real weapon, the doubt. The fear in the Russian rear is not that every balloon hits, it is that nobody in Russia knows which balloon matters.
Russia can copy the balloon. Helium is not a secret. It can build aerostats, train operators, rewrite radar doctrine. But one component of this weapon Moscow cannot manufacture, purchase, or sanction: a west wind. The conveyor belt over this battlefield runs one direction, out of Ukraine into Russia, and it has been running since before either country existed. Ukraine did not just build a new drone, it signed up the atmosphere as an ally, and the atmosphere works for free. This is not permanent dominance, it is something Moscow should fear more. A cheap, scalable pressure mechanism that converts Russia's most expensive military asset into a slow-bleeding liability. Every night the wall must be perfect. Every night the wind only has to blow. And tonight, somewhere in a dark field west of the front line, it is happening again. Helium hisses into an envelope. A $5,000 drone swings gently under the rigging. The balloon lifts away east without a sound. And 300 kilometers downwind, a Russian operator leans toward his scope, watching a slow dot crawl closer, his thumb over a launch decision that costs more than everything in the sky above him. Moscow built a wall in the sky. Ukraine made the sky itself the weapon. Now the question is yours. Is this the opening of a new era of unmanned deep strike, wind-borne weapons rewriting the cost of war? Or will Russia adapt fast enough to slam this window shut before balloon-launched drones reach mass scale? Pick a side in the comments, because one of those futures is already lifting off. If tonight's briefing changed how you see this war, subscribe. The next breakthrough is already in the air. Stay sharp.